Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final stream of Hoard of Tales Women in Gaming Month this year, and this EU Happy Hour flight as well, hosted by Free League Publishing. Links to our sponsor and to Hoard of Tales Vase and One Shot are in the chat, as are links to our charity this month. EU Happy Hour is a special event for UK/EU TTRPG players to connect and play together on Twitch, so yay! I am Anya, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm going to be your storyteller for this final Candela Obscura chapter of The Circle of Glass and Vapor. Clockwise from me, let's go to Sakaya.
Hello everyone, I am Sakaya, my pronouns are she, her. I am playing Ruby Locke tonight, pronouns are also she, her, and I am the criminal.
Very cool. Then do we have, I'm not seeing her, do we have Astaroth? There we go.
She's back.
Wait, she's reappearing. There we go. Maybe. While we're waiting for her, Michelle, go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Michelle, my pronouns are she, her, and I will be playing Lucinda, our Prodigal Circle member and professor.
Okay, and Ren.
Hi, I'm Ren. Pronouns are they, them, and tonight I'll be playing Alma Stonebridge, the resident doctor, also she, they.
Okay, and Astaroth, if you're back.
Hello?
Yeah,
am I back?
Yeah.
You are back, yay!
Okay.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and your character.
Okay. Hi, I am Asta, and today I will be playing Ify Abara, who is my seer, going by the pronouns she, her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just so everyone is aware, this game may contain will contain elements of psychological horror, stalking, serial killers, mind control, and minor drug use. Your mental health is important, and at the end of the day, this is just a game. You can always turn it off and come back to watch the VOD another day. And with that, shall we get started? Okay. I'm going to expand this so it's easier for me to read. The fear of the chase grips the woman like nothing she's ever experienced before. He's on her trail. He's relentless. She thinks of it as a he, but is that even right? She glances back to catch a glimpse of the figure stalking her, his face distorted and warped, elongating into a bestial shape with a long, snapping snout. She needs to run fast, crying out in pain as whatever it is coming after her and it's gaining on her. She trips on her long skirts and falls, gasping and trying to get away, and then tearing, snapping jaws descend. Darkness consumes her. Nothing. We open on the opulent streets of the Silver Slip District, the seat of power for the primacy in the city. The cold of the pre-dawn light filters in through the windows high above the building, old in a way that not many are in Newfaire. A figure crouches over the body of a woman splayed out in the center of the memorial building at the base of a golden statue. Her long, flowing red hair and skirts are spread out in an arc on either side around her, like blood-red wings of an angel. One could mistake her for being asleep, were it not for the claw marks on her torso, the bite marks at her shoulders. The man's hands rest on the marble floor on either side of her face as he examines her body, long since gone cold in the rigor of death's embrace. Vines, thorny and filled with budding and blossoming roses, wrap around the man's hands and spread along the dead woman's body as he looks over her with a careful eye. The plant life writhes and twists as it seems to seek out any wisps of something viscous and glowing. As the vines touch this entirely other substance, it causes them to bloom, wither, and die in the blink of an eye. The man grimaces as the flowers go through the cycle of life and releases a shuddering breath through the pain. A burbling over of laughter from the nearby street as the front door opens and closes causes the man's head to snap up as he carefully extricates himself from the body, the vines slowly retracting under his skin until it looks like he has intricate, beautiful vine tattoos. He tugs his gloves back on with quick precision and only the faintest of winces, snatching up his cane from the ground before rising up, grasping the silver owl's head handle with care. Lightkeeper Taryn Fairlight nods to his message runner at the entrance to the building, their eyes wide with awe and a little bit of fear. It's time to bring in the circle of glass and vapor. There has been a phenomenon. We cut now to Lucinda, our dear professor. Where are you right now?
Lucinda is in her office, which is where she has been for quite some time, except for her little sojourns to the library. Although even for those, she has sometimes been sending for messengers to run for her. She's poring over a sort of very big tome, which looks actually old enough and valuable enough that technically she probably shouldn't have taken it out of the library at all, but Lucinda has her ways. It is an almanac of salves, poultices, and other magics for the relief of unnatural ailments. And she's kind of flipping through this natural history, and she's landed on a page with some sort of a very kind of artistic, really, illustration, a very intricate, beautiful illustration of a wound on a shoulder. And she's kind of comparing this to a sketch, and she's not really an artistic sort. It's a very technical sketch of a wounded shoulder with like the edge of a flapper dress just visible off the edges of the sketch that she's included. And she's comparing it. And although the styles are different, there's something here. And she's looking through the list of ingredients for the balm for this particular ailment when a knock at the door startles her far more than a knock at her own office door really ought to. And she peers round to find a runner who's been at the chemistry department handing over the results of an analysis of some balm that she had in her pocket from one of her fellow circle members. And she is comparing the makeup with interest.
Interesting. Okay. So as you are going through all of this, analyzing this balm, is there anything in particular that you're looking to find here?
She's intrigued to note that in all of the records that she's found of treatments for painful and sharp ailments caused by unnatural phenomena, the same kind of ingredients keep coming up. And they don't seem to be the same kinds of things that the reputable doctors that her family always went to use. And yet there's a shocking similarity to what her colleague, who she's never quite taken so seriously, seems to use for these kinds of things. And she's kind of just processing this at the moment. And I think she hadn't quite allowed herself to believe that this would really be what the analysis would find.
Very fair. So would anyone be going to see Lucinda? What do you all think? It's been a couple of days since your last assignment.
Would we feel... Does Lucinda like to be disturbed when she's studying?
I think Lucinda would say, don't disturb me, I'm studying. But I think that maybe Ruby has heard this before and knows that it isn't always quite as meant as literally as she seems to think.
I think Ruby knows that Lucinda doesn't eat properly when she's studying, so I have stopped off and grabbed some confectionery. So I don't know if anyone else would like to come, but I'm definitely going to go and bring pastries and things for Lucinda to feed her with sugar.
Alma's not letting you leave her sight, so this is with,
I was.
Go ahead.
Oh, go on. I was going to say that if you mention visiting Lucinda, Ify would jump at the chance to go and see a friend. So.
Mm-hmm. And I will note that your ghost friend, Alouette, is staying at Amma's doctor's office unless told otherwise. So she feels more comfortable hidden away, given that there would probably be screams and people terrified of this ghostly shape if they saw her.
Mm.
Rap at the door.
Yep.
Yes, enter.
Lucinda, darling.
So my office hours are actually... Oh, Ruby, hello, yes. All right, lovely to see you.
Your office hours don't end.
Everyone's here. Oh, wonderful.
Hello.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, it has been... it's been a few days longer than I thought. I meant to be back with you sooner. How is everything?
I glance at the others, choose to ignore that, and I busy myself by like putting some cakes out in front of you. Come on, eat.
Oh, you are an angel. And I think that probably you would that Lucinda always looks a little bit drawn around the cheeks, as though she's never quite had a full meal, but it looks a little worse than usual, and she's kind of almost absently, like she's not really tasting it, she's just eating it as she's still looking over her papers. You are a darling. Thank you ever so much.
Lucinda, you've been locked away for quite some time. Have you found something interesting?
Oh, well, there's always something interesting to be found. You tug on one thread, and then you tug on another thread, and suddenly there's a tapestry forming in front of you, and it really, I can get carried away. You know how it is. I've just found myself with so much to read.
You need to look after yourself.
Of course, yes. Well, this is the safest, the best place for me to be. This is where I feel most at home. So I wouldn't worry about that.
I think Alma's hanging back a little bit and just kind of wandering the edge of the room, looking at the books on the shelves, seeing if there's anything interesting. And then, for lack of anything better, is going to say, well, we have a bit to catch you up on, if nothing else. How,
wonderful.
That might not be the word. How secure is your room?
I mean, absolutely. I can't imagine there'd be anything to worry about here.
You notice that Ruby is actually like, she's gone back to the door and she's like checking the corridor, shutting the door carefully, being a little bit more sort of surreptitious than normal.
Mm. I think that actually, I don't know who would notice this particularly, but usually everything's very pristine in Lucinda's office, but anything which would be polished to a shine has been allowed to dull to an extent. There would be no reflection if you looked at it. And she kind of glances at sort of a couple of things around the room and is sort of confident.
Knowing that Alma is about to discuss uncomfortable things, Ruby needs something to occupy herself, and given that Lucinda has been in this, like, fully concentrating on all of her work, your hair is probably like a little bit sort of messy, the bunches. I'm going to take a brush, and without even asking permission, I just like start taking your hair, like resetting it, and just like.
I think Lucinda complies like a child with a very strong-willed governess to this being done to her. Second nature.
Well, to start, it's good to see you well. We encountered a phenomenon, and then another phenomenon. Ify, how do I even start this? So, Ify came to me with a phenomenon that we are currently not discussing with Candela proper, in the form of a ghost whose name is Alouette. Your face is telling me a great story. It's very similar to the story I'm sure I was telling, but
I lean into Lucinda. She's a darling.
Alouette's a good friend.
she's a very kindly spirit who appears to have been a victim of the we have been calling it the wolf, or is this a colloquial thing?
Ooh, you do have bourbon.
Yeah, I think that Lucinda says, "Oh, no, that's for academic edit respects," and she'll open a bottom drawer and pass a different decanter over to you.
Oh God, Ruby, perhaps you should take a seat, dear. You seem a little affected. Right. The spirit that we encountered seemed to be a victim of the phenomenon that has previously plagued Ruby. And so we are discussing our next move forward, as this is a currently active killer.
I think Lucinda sort of very slowly closes her book. Ghosts are real.
Lucinda, yes. They are very real, very near tangible things.
I see. I was going to ask you a few questions, Emma, about some of your background in your research, but I think actually that perhaps that could go to one side, and but we should make an appointment.
You wanted to ask me about my... I mean...
Ruby.
Yes, my
Are
darling.
you all right, darling?
I'm absolutely fine. She
This
has
is
a
Is
very
Ruby telling the truth?
No.
Okay.
Ruby, I thought... I know you don't like to talk about these things, but I thought you had intimated that this wolf wasn't something to be concerned of anymore.
Well, I didn't think he was.
Hmm.
I don't have him in my address book. I hardly keep tabs on him just to check, whether he's still murdering or...
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right,
No,
darling.
I'm sorry, Lucinda.
She's going to do a very professorly thing of sort of standing up and walking around in front of her desk and then leaning on it. And kind of... Now, I'm ever so sorry that I was so buried in my research that I allowed you to have to face this. Without the support of your full circle, I have been negligent in my commitments, and anything else takes a backseat to this. I can't let you be in any risk, Ruby, darling.
Thank you, Lucinda. Dear, you haven't been negligent. You had no possible way of knowing, and to be honest, I have a focus with Alouette now. I can distance myself from this a little bit and tackle it for someone else. That's how I'm viewing it.
Terrifically glad that the ghost is helping. That's good news.
I flash a look at Emma. Sorry.
She is currently occupying my office in a sort of permanent state of impermanence. You can meet her if you would like. She's...
Yes, I suppose I better add.
incredibly pleasant.
Oh, good. Wonderful, yes. Is ghost liaison a part of your practice more broadly? Is that something new?
No. No.
No, I hadn't come across it in any of the texts. I was just curious if that was something else to research or.
Honestly, the liaison part might be a bit more on Ify's part, but you know, that's there's neither here nor there. So you have the important facts and are currently caught up. If you would like, we can make an excursion, or if you have things that you need to finish here, that is entirely fine as well.
No, there's nothing here that needs. I mean, there's always plenty to finish, but no, all of the assignments I've had turned in by my students have been simply abysmal, so there's really no need to waste any more time on those.
Oh dear.
Let's move on, and we should have a look in the diary about a time that I could interview you, Alma, because I have a lot of questions about certain things. No, focus, ghost, yes, actual ghost. I would be interested to meet this ghost, yes.
Fine. Alma looks very like caught in between, like, what does she want to ask me? But but then just immediately like puts that away. It's like, all right, we'll return to my office then.
Feel free to bring the bottle, Ruby. Dr. Somerset always has plenty.
Ruby looks, tries to sort of like make it look as if she hadn't actually already taken the bottle. Oh, thank you, Lucinda. Yeah, I just, just a bit of courage.
Of course, my dear.
I love that. Okay, so you all make your way over from the university to Amma's office then. It is a relatively nice day. The sun is up in the sky, and it does not take you long to get over to Amma's office. Once again, filled to the brim with all manner of plant life and all that jazz. And you see, I guess the best way to describe it is that she is sitting at Amma's desk, just this glowing form that you can see a young woman, a young singer, and she's just humming to herself. Na, 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 na. Just whiling away the time. She looks up and you see she gets a little bit more solid as you come in. You can see the distinct features on her face as she looks up. Oh, hello. I don't know you.
And Lucinda will sort of turn to Ify and sort of, can she hear me?
I can
yes.
hear you.
Of course you can. Silly of me. I just of course I'm new to speaking to people such. Not that there's anything wrong with. Hello, my name's Lucinda. Hello.
Hello, I'm Alouette Weaver.
Charmed, I'm sure.
I guess, but
it's a pleasure.
She just nods at you.
Alma's going to put a hand on Lucinda's back. It's like, you're doing well. You're doing well.
Thank you, yes. So, you're a ghost?
So it appears, yes. I was one of the wolf's victims from what your friends have told me.
I'm terribly sorry.
Alouette was a singer, one of the best. She has a beautiful voice.
Oh.
Thank you, Ruby. Yours is lovely too.
Thank you. And we have promised Alouette that we shall bring this wolf to justice.
Yes. Yes, that seems like a very good promise to make, Ruby. How long ago did... I don't know if this is a rude question.
We think it was about a month.
Oh,
Possibly longer. My memories are a little bit hazy still. I have only been getting back bits and pieces.
interesting. Fascinating. Is that... And she sort of turns to Efi again. Is that common? Is that how it works?
Well, I haven't really interacted with many spirits, so I'm not entirely sure what the norm is. But I'm going to assume yes.
Oh, terribly sorry for making a presumption. You just seemed like you might know. Yes. Well, there might be something in the library we can look at. Although actually, we have a ghost right here.
Breathe, Lucinda, please.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Sorry, it's been what I thought was 2 days, but I'm given to understand it may have been a bit longer. But it's been long and busy, regardless. Do you remember much about how it happened?
I remember being chased. I remember... I don't know if he can really be called a man. His face changed and morphed. It was like he was becoming something other. It was almost... the best I can describe it is wolf-like.
Oh dear.
I remember pain, and then nothing. I wish I could be more help.
As we're all discussing this, Efi has kind of been feeling a little heightened since everything occurred last session. So can Efi try and do a sense to see if this presence is nearby, just out of kind of like if you speak of this entity, it manifests kind of thing, like she's getting a little wired.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll sense for me.
That is a 5.
A 5, a mixed success. So as you are kind of just trying to reach out and connect with that sense of other that you are able to attune yourself to, you aren't sensing anything malevolent necessarily, but you realize something important about the ghost in front of you. Alouette has been becoming more solid, remembering more about her life, and she has to get that power from something. And you realize that she is gaining some of her power from being around the 4 of you. She's drawing something from the 4 of you. Intentionally or not, you don't know. But you can feel that wisp of, I want to say ether, something like that, getting drawn away from you and towards that flicker that you see that is her.
And that sensation, how does it feel? Does it feel like draining, tiring, or is it just, it's barely noticeable?
It's barely noticeable. It feels cold. It's the best way to describe it. And I will say, with a mixed success, All of you are now going to take a bleed as
Ooh, okay, that puts me on 3 at the beginning of the session.
as this ghost is drawing on all of you.
Oh
Right.
boy.
She has to manifest somehow.
And since I took a bleed, y'all can regain a drive.
Hey.
Yay.
Yay!
Hey.
Thanks,
That was good,
Alma.
actually. Thanks, Alma.
I'm going to take my 1 nerve drive back. My only one.
Mhm.
Ruby has been shivering, getting a little bit cold, and I don't have the prop for this, but she's drawing around her a bright red cape that she sometimes wears and pulls up a big, heavy, sort of bright red hood. And she's kind of shivering in the corner.
Don't you all think we ought to speak to Mr. Fairlight?
Well, I'm not entirely sure if that's a good idea.
But he's
Don't
he's
know
an expert
what he
on
might
these
do with her.
things. Well, surely he'll help.
And if we told him about it, then I wouldn't have to keep... every time he stares at me.
Well, I suppose if you think it's the best course of action, then we...
Well, I mean, surely it must be. He's part of the organisation that deals with these sort of things. Surely he's here to help.
Yes, but do we ever really see what happens to the things that we give them? Where it goes? What they do with it?
To be honest, I don't really care. That hideous little lemur can go wherever...
Let's not bring up the lemur ever again.
But Alouette is a person still, spirit or no.
Well, yes, absolutely. I'm sure they wouldn't do anything.
We don't
Similar
know
to how they
that,
would
do
do-
we?
She makes a good point, Lucinda.
Evie felt very strongly about this from the beginning, and I am operating under her gut feeling.
Well, Evie, I am inclined to respect your superior knowledge on the subject, but I do think we really need to do something. If there's this awful monster is still on the loose, and from everything Ruby's told me, and from what you, Alouette, have told me, that perhaps we can't tell him everything, but surely we have to get some sort of support. I don't know how on earth we're going to deal with this on our own.
Okay, so maybe we can approach Taryn as if Ruby has been feeling unsafe and has perhaps sensed this phenomenon getting closer to her.
Did you mention out of game? Did you mention to us that your protection on her had faded or fractured?
I mean, Ruby doesn't even know.
No, not yet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ruby kind of pulls her cape around her a little bit tighter. She's still shivering a bit, but there is another possible way that we could involve Mr. Fairlight, and that's, depending on whether I get any information back, we may discover which Weaver family Alouette belonged to. And if we could prove that there had been a killing, we could go to him with that. But I'm still waiting to hear back from Harry.
How reliable is this, Harry?
Depends how desperate he is.
Right. So we're waiting for the desperate Harry.
Oh, you know him.
No, I don't think I want to, Ruby. I'm going to be very honest. In the meantime, If Alouette has become a victim of this wolf, perhaps we can see if there's any other current victim. From the way you described it, it didn't seem like the kind of phenomenon that would stop at a few. And I was trying to be very gentle in the way that she speaks about it to not upset Ruby any further.
I was lucky. Fortunate. I had advanced warning. It's where I learned to see the bleed. I jumped from a window. I ran. It was the night that you met me, Lucinda, as you recall. But he is cunning, if he is even a he. You mustn't find yourself alone with any strangers. He can transform.
Ruby, darling, you are certainly a lucky woman, but you're more than that. You were tough, and you were tenacious, and you were strong. You got away from this monster once, and we're going to work together. We're going to find a way to make sure that you're away from him forever, all right?
Yes, Lucinda.
Yes. So, if we need to visit Desperate Harry and figure out what it is he's desperate for, then it sounds like that's our next course of action.
Yes, I'll leave that to me.
Wait, why is he desperate?
He's not desperate for tuition. Let's just put it that way. Can we...
Oh, goodness. Well, yes, perhaps
I'm not entirely on the same page, but I will trust your guidance.
Oh, Ify, those pages are very long and complicated. It's a very difficult book sometimes. Don't worry about it.
Oh. So, as you are having this conversation, Alouette has kind of, you can tell that she's drifted away from, it feels like it's not focused on her anymore, and she seems to drift a little bit. And a knock sounds at the door. And she disappears. And poking their head around the corner as the door creaks open, you recognize Fairlight's message runner. They are wearing kind of like a newsy cap, and they just say, there's been a phenomenon, and Mr. Fairlight has asked for you to come. It's in the silver slip, and it looks bad.
Well, it looks like our appointment with Fairlight is here. I'm afraid your situation is going to have to wait a little bit longer again, Alouette.
You feel the cold of a hand brushing against your jaw, and just it's all right. Soon enough. That's it.
Right, well, we're on our way, and well done. Your polysyllabic pronunciation is certainly improving.
I don't know what that word means, but all right. And they just scurry off.
One step at a time.
You'll get there, Lucinda.
Amma will grab her bag. Well, to Fairlight's impeccable timing.
This will be fine, right?
It'll be fine. And Ruby ties her hood under her chin and head out into the street.
So as you do, The Silver Slip and the Red Light District kind of border themselves a little bit. And so as you're making your way there, the message runner has told you that you need to go to the War Memorial, all of that. But you make your way in that direction. You just, Ruby, hear a little whistle from a side street, and you see Harry leaning, looking a little smug, arms crossed.
I flick a glance at the other three. You go on. I'll catch you up. Harry, hi, darling.
Hey there, Miss Ruby. I got the answers you were looking for.
Perfect, you darling. What have you got for me?
There are only 2 Weaver families that I was able to find, and one said that they weren't missing anyone. The other said there was an Alouette who went missing a little while back. Last they heard from her, she told them she thought she was being watched.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
This Weaver family, where do they live?
They live in the Groundswell, not too far away.
You have done amazing. Thank you very much. And I suppose...
He kind of leans in, kind of like as if to like run his hand down your arm, if you will allow that of him.
I do, but I also kind of put a finger on his lip and just push back slightly. I have an important appointment, but you can run by my place sometime, maybe later this week.
He just kind of gives you a, like, I'm imagining Flynn Rider right now, like the biggest like smolder / puppy dog eyes. Just being like, really now?
Yes, we'll later.
Take pity on a poor man. I've been running myself ragged for you.
Well, sometimes it's character building. And Harry,
Fine.
you do need to build that character, don't you? Come on.
I'll see you very soon then, Ruby.
I'm sure you will. I'll give him a little wink and hurry off after the others.
Okay.
Desperate Harry, less desperate?
That remains to be seen. But I have news. I found Olivet's family. They live in Groundswell.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
Once we're done here, we could perhaps look into that. But let's find out what Fairlight wants.
Yes,
Of course.
Okay, so you make your way over to the Great War Memorial. Now, this is an interesting building. It's made of essentially a triangle of walls that have been repurposed. They're very old, clearly from Old Fair. And in the center, there is a golden statue of a woman, a sylph, who has a lightning bolt in her hand, looking up. And as you walk into the memorial through the front doors, you find Fairlight, Taryn Fairlight, your lightkeeper, standing near what is very clearly a woman's body. Her body is outstretched. Everything is expanded upon, her skirts, her hair, all in this kind of ephemeral look. Her hands over her mouth, which this is a common sight that you all would recognize being from Newfaire. They call it breath binding to keep the soul in It is a little bit of a superstitious thing, but her hands are there. And as you see Fairlight there, Ruby, you can't help but look at this woman's body. She has bite marks and claw marks, and you recognize this. What is your reaction?
Not what you might expect. I think Ruby has certainly gone into shock, but at the moment she's, to all intents and purposes, to everyone like looking at her, she seems very impassive. She just stands there and she is observing, almost detached, and there's no reaction at all yet.
Now, external reaction, is there one pinging around in your head?
I think even internally she's frozen slightly, but it is starting to, her breathing is starting to get a little bit heightened, and rather than seeing the body on the floor, she is just running through the night that she escaped. She's seeing his jaws, and yeah.
So as you are running through this in your mind, I need you to take one brain mark.
Yes.
As you're there frozen in place. Taryn sees all of you, and it's not just Taryn, as Farah from the OUP is once more here. She, for Lucinda's sake, she is a member of the Office of Unexplained Phenomena, and she sometimes goes to Candela for help because she doesn't always like the bureaucracy of her own department. And the two of them are have broken off a conversation as you all entered. Hello, everyone. As you can see, we have had a phenomenon. The bleed has already been removed. It's safe to examine her if you would like.
It was the Wolf of Red Lamps.
He gives you a very long look and says, yes, it was. We did not expect him to return.
I look at the others with a kind of like, do we tell him that he has returned before now? Kind of look.
I think Ethy is just trying desperately not to shift uncomfortably, and is kind of scooching herself closer, kind of to sandwich between Ruby and Arma, and is just being uncharacteristically silent.
When did she die?
Best we can tell, sometime in the middle of the night. She has not been here long.
He's spreading out. He's moving outside his normal hunting grounds.
It seems that way, although, and he gestures with his cane at her. She does, it looks like a costume, her dress. She may still be from Red Lamp. I'm not certain. I haven't been able to find out who she is yet.
I wouldn't recognize the dress as being from a particular establishment or anything like that, or
roll. I would say roll a focus for me.
Okay. Okay. That is a 2.
2. You have no idea if this is a particular outfit from you know, a specific lounge or something like that. It's not one that you recognize. And you have kind of sequestered yourself at the Fair Play in recent months, years.
Yeah.
So
Looking at the young woman, looking at Ruby and thinking of Alouette, do they follow like a similar, like, does he have a type?
she's young. Beyond that, nothing that you can see. They all have different body types, different builds. Nothing that really connects them. Different hair colors, as best as you can tell, as well.
Okay.
I'd like for you specifically, Amma, to roll your call, either survey or focus.
I'll do focus.
Okay.
That's 2 4s.
A mixed success. As you are having this conversation with Taryn, as you're looking over the woman, you can't help but notice a flash of something at his collar, on his neck. It wasn't here before, a tattoo of a blood red rose surrounded by sharp, thorny vines that's just visible over the neckline.
On Taryn.
On Taryn.
He doesn't seem to be the type to, well, I mean, who is the type to get tattoos? I guess with a mixed success, I can't quite tell if there's something odd about it. Just I noticed
Exactly. You noticed it, but beyond that, you don't get any further details. He definitely, from your experiences with him, he does not seem the type to get a tattoo, especially not one that's so visible.
Okay. Noted.
May I try something? Lucinda is an occult researcher, so I can spend a brain mark to ask for an important occult detail I would recognize from my studies but has not yet been revealed.
Interesting.
And given that the bleed has been cleared from this victim already, I wonder if Lucinda clocks Amma looking at Mr. Fairlight, and actually if there's anything interesting that she notices there.
You know that Lightkeepers are circle members who can no longer be in the field. You know this. It can be that they are getting older, or they have been affected by too much bleed and might become a creature themselves, or any other number of things. One thing that you note, I would say, yes, take that brain mark, as you notice not only the tattoo, but that it's not quite under his skin. Which is very, very odd to you especially. And you know that there are some people whose bleed containment vials are not so much vials as something that is a part of them. And they can only take in so much bleed before it takes them over too.
Okay.
I think at this point, Ruby while they're just sort of talking amongst themselves, Ruby is going to move forward and kind of kneel down next to this young lady, and just reach forward and just sort of stroke her hair, like back away from her face. Is her eyes still open?
Her eyes are open because, contrary to TV and movies, they need to be weighted down. Yeah, they are open.
So Ruby's going to look into her eyes as she just sort of strokes her, and very imperceptibly under her breath, I'm going to kill him. We're going to put a stop to this. You'll be the last. And then stands up, very matter of fact, suddenly. Is there like an alleyway nearby?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. There is an alley not too, like, just along the back of this memorial.
Well, while you finish up getting whatever information you need to get here, I'm just going to search around for a few little clues, and I'm kind of actually sort of walking away as I'm talking, and my steps kind of pick up in pace the further away from the group I get, and then I basically end up running into the alleyway and just throwing up and just leaning against the wall, just like
yeah.
I'm almost gonna clock that, but give Ruby a moment to have a little space. Of the wounds on the victim's body, is there one that is like, I know she has like bite marks and claw marks, but is there one that definitively killed her, or is there one? Is it just an accumulation of the wounds and she bled out?
I would say go ahead and roll a focus again for me, as you are very specifically looking over the body here. Ify, is there anything that you would like to do with this? Because you work at the mortuary. Like,
yeah.
Dead bodies are perfectly normal to you.
It's a 2 and a 1. I got nothing.
Oh. I was gonna add an assist, but I don't know if it's too late.
Depends. I would allow for you to add a drive for her if you want to.
Yeah, I'll burn a drive and give it to you, Arma.
How are you assisting?
I suppose Ify, kind of following Arma's footsteps, is also trying to help search the body for anything that seems strange about the type of marks that are on the body. It's like bite marks, claw marks, but was there anything in particularly strange about them? Like,
okay. Yeah, so go ahead. We add that drive. So, if you would like to roll.
Yeah, no, she's, I think, very distracted with Ruby. I failed.
Okay.
Oh no.
It's come back to me. It's come back.
No, maybe I'm the
Ruby
cursed.
last game, but it's come back.
The wheel turns.
It's again.
I mean, do you have a resistance and intuition?
I do.
If you want, you can burn it.
You know, why not? Let's just re-roll the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you re-roll the first 2. Yeah.
No.
No, don't tell us.
That's so funny.
Oh, Amma does love Ruby so much. The dice refuse to tell a different story.
It was
Emma,
a 3 and a 1.
Oh, fully distracted by what's going on with Ruby. You're not able to focus and figure out exactly the cause of death here. There are certainly plenty of marks all over, but nothing that's clearly screaming at you, oh, this is what caused her demise. And so you're just having a really hard time telling. And you know what? I'm going to give you a brain mark here because you're struggling so much. And this is something that should be like second nature to you. And you're just not able to figure it out.
You know, like it makes sense. This is something that is just too close to home. So she's not taking in the information properly.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I will give y'all, and especially with Evie helping here, while you can't figure out the cause of death, you do note that she couldn't have been killed here because there's no pool of blood. There is the red dress all spread out. The hair is all spread out. It's very clearly she has been placed here very intentionally, but she was not killed here.
Yeah, that's just evident with the breath binding and stuff. I don't think the wolf would stop to do that.
Yeah.
Continue, Evie.
Well, I was just wondering, is there anything particular about the locations these women are found in? Like, this woman is here at the memorial. And where was Alouette found? Well, we don't know, do we?
No, you don't know. That's not something that she remembered. Although, Ruby, you might know.
Yes, I'm no longer with them currently, but
yeah,
I could roll something for that to see if I remember.
I would say it's going to be focused because that has remember.
Will be. I think I'm going to spend my drive on this one.
Okay.
One and a 3.
Oh, yeah. You knew her. You knew that she had been a victim, but you don't know where she was displayed or killed. Okay.
Guys, you got to get these rolls together. It's not going to
Getting them out the way.
I would like to, while you're kind of looking over the body of this person, I think Lucinda's going to kind of come over to Mr. Fairlight and Farah by extension, if they're...
Yeah, they're side by side.
And say, now, Mr. Fairlight, I know you're a very learned person yourself, so I'm sure you're aware that the bricks that were used to build this memorial were made of specially treated river mud because of beliefs from old Faerans that running water protected from unnatural phenomena. So I do wonder, it couldn't possibly be, I mean, certainly it would be surprising if a creature of the bleed could commit such a violent act on site where this kind of building existed. That leads us to believe, alongside the way she's posed, that she was moved. Now, Mr. Fairlight, would it be fair to say that we're facing up against something really quite dangerous here?
That certainly would seem to be the case.
And Mr. Fairlight, would it be fair to say that this seems to be a very dangerous phenomenon which seems to target young women?
That would be a fair assessment, yes, based on everything that we know so far.
I think she's going to sort of flick her eyes over towards Ruby and then to Evie and then look back and be like, I think if you want us to do anything to do with this, Miss Fairlight, and you want us to survive, to tell the tale, and to let Candela know about anything we learn, it might be beneficial for you to give us absolutely every tool in your arsenal to help us, including any information you might not have shared so far. Don't you think?
I definitely agree. And you can tell he feels a little bit like on the back foot here. But he is looking at you curiously, like, oh yes, this is the energy that Lucinda brings. That's right. How did I forget? And he says, the best that I can tell is that he's killing them elsewhere. He's finding them alone. That is not difficult to assess. And he's starting to bring them to important locations within Newfaire. That is the most information that I have been able to gather. There was one other thing. The bleed, the sense of strangeness about her body. It felt like a shock of electricity more than anything else. I don't know what to make of that, but it might be useful to you.
Well, I appreciate you sharing what you do know. You mentioned that it's starting to bring women to important locations, plural. Would you be so kind as to tell me any other important locations that young women in a similar situation have been found?
This is from the past when he appeared before. He has been targeting places of interest. There's the Great War Memorial here, of course, but also prominent Red Lamp District houses of pleasure and burlesque lounges and things like that. He has been very careful in his placement of the bodies in the past and now, as you can see.
I see.
Any more than that? And I'm very sorry, I don't know. And Farah pipes in. She kind of leans forward on like a bench and is resting her arms and goes like this. I mean, honestly, it reeks. It's super creepy, don't you think? He's playing, it feels. It's almost like it's a game to him. I don't really know what to make of it, but certainly it is not safe. As far as we can tell, and she kind of kicks Taryn a little bit, he seems to only go after these women at night. During the day, as far as we've been able to tell, there's nothing, but their bodies have always been found at night or in the early hours of the morning. So you're safe in the daytime, as far as we know.
I appreciate the reassurance. As always, the OUP is doing its most utmost for us.
You say that, but I'm here not on contract at the moment. I'm on my off hours. Don't go alone. Avoid the shadows, I think. This guy's creepy. Don't let him come and catch you unawares.
Ruby has pulled herself together a little bit by now and has re-emerged, made her way back to the group, still very pale. But she's sort of caught the tag end of that conversation. He's an exhibitionist. He likes to leave them where there's crowds. He wants everyone to see what he can do. You say, but don't go alone and stay away from the shadows. Well, I think we should use me as bait. And I'm good in the shadows.
I'm going to vehemently disagree with that plan. So, and she pulls out like a little tightly wrapped bundle of leaves. You might want to chew this, dear. It will help. Welcome. But also, no. I'm not. You honestly cannot expect me to agree to that in any way.
He has unfinished business. We never know where he's going to strike. I'm the best chance we have of knowing where he'll be.
I don't like this. I don't like this idea.
Subtly preposterous, Ruby. Don't go alone. Stay out of the shadows. What kind of advice is that? Just this is a fact of life, and we should simply just avoid being savaged by this monster, and or become bait. Is that the best that anyone can do, really?
No, we can take it to him.
Ruby, do you have any idea how we could possibly find him?
And even if we do find him, how do we deal with him?
You can see that Ruby is like, she's in this kind of obstinate, resolute mode, but she doesn't have the answers for that. So you can see that kind of flicker of doubt go over her eyes. She's refusing to back down, but you can see that she doesn't know. And so she avoids that question. She answers Lucinda's previous one. The Red Lamp District.
Right. Well, then perhaps we ought to investigate the Red Lamp District, starting in the daytime, and all together, before we commit to any sort of bait-based plans.
Agreed. And we could visit the Weavers.
Yes, good idea.
I'm amenable to that.
Okay.
And Mr. Fairlight says, well, it seems like you all have a plan, and I will leave you to it. You know where to find me if you need anything. Takes a breath and starts to walk away. And anyone who is watching him go, you notice that he's limping a little more than usual.
Before he gets too far, Amma would call out to him, Taryn. And she'll meet him the distance that he traveled and pull out from her bag. It's a small bottle that has a sort of yellowish liquid inside, and hand it to him.
What's this?
You seemed to be in pain last time I saw you. For what it's worth, I am a doctor, and whatever you have going on, I don't need to know. You don't need to share, but I at least stand by and watch someone be in pain. Use it, don't use it. Whatever you'd like to do.
I appreciate your concern. This might help, but I doubt it. I appreciate it nonetheless. I'll let you know.
Please do.
And he gives you a pat on the shoulder. You're a good doctor. And he walks away without waiting for a response.
It's just a vicious frown on her face.
And as you were having this conversation, Farah just slipped out the side door. She's gone. But you see that there are a couple of officers of the OUP who have come in with a stretcher and are preparing to take the body away. as this is the war memorial and people come to visit. Can't exactly have a dead body here for too long.
Fair.
You know. And so as they are bundling her away, they cover her and just slowly take her away. You have your plans for the day. And honestly, I think that's a great place for us to take our break here. So everyone, we will be back with more of Candela Obscura, our Unveiling the Unseen assignment. Thank you to our lovely sponsors, the Free League Publishing, for sponsoring the Women in Gaming Month. And we will be back with EU Happy Hour in a little while. So see y'all soon. Bye. Welcome back to the final session of the Circle of Glass and Vapor. We have found a dead body in a war memorial and are going to try to figure out where the wolf is, which for anyone who has not watched anything yet, zero context. Let's get into it. So where would you all like to go first? You had a couple of options, so I'm leaving that open to you.
I like the suggestion of visiting the Weaver family. I think that might be a place to start. They're in the groundswell, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So you head over, and it's early morning-ish time period. So you head over to the groundswell, and Harry gave a piece of paper with an address on it. And it takes a little bit of time to find as it's kind of twisting and turning. You find yourselves in a little bit of a poorer area where all of the homes are kind of squished together. There are 6-7-story buildings, and you find yourselves outside of a building that has like a little chicken coop off to one side, and you hear just people talking through the very thin walls. What would you like to do?
Perhaps I should be the first, unless, Ruby, you feel particularly attached.
No. No, I think, yes, you should speak to them, Mama. I'll link arms with Ify.
Thank you.
Alma immediately regrets volunteering herself and heads to the front door. Just gives it a few gentle raps.
And you just hear one moment, hang on one second, and there's like a slight crash of cutlery, it sounds like. Before you see opening this door is a semi-disheveled looking woman. She's probably in her late 40s, early 50s. Her hair is just pulled back with a kerchief over it, and she's still wearing a robe, like a night robe, as she looks out and sees the four of you. Can I help you with anything?
Hello, good morning. I'm so sorry to disturb you. I believe the other day a young gentleman might have come around asking after Alouette.
Right, yeah. We haven't seen her in a while, and we were starting to get worried.
Right. I am Anna Stonebridge.
Oh, you're that doctor, right?
Yes, I am. I do some work. I was just wondering. I don't me to have this discussion in the doorway. If it's not, is it fine if we speak here? Are you comfortable?
She looks back over her shoulder and seems to get some affirmation, and she goes, right, yeah, sure, you can come on in, yeah. Just
Thank you so much. We don't want
excuse
to
the
impose.
mess.
Oh no, I'm sure your home is very lovely. We are the ones imposing, after all. And Alma will just nod to the others before she changes her mind.
And she welcomes you on, and you can tell that she's a little bit uncomfortable, like tying her robe a little bit tighter. She's wearing a dress underneath and stuff, but just cozy in the home, you know, and leads you into like a very cramped space. It is like the dining area connected to the kitchen, and then there's like a set of stairs that leads up to an upper floor, but it's very small space. You can see that there are some slightly nicer furnishings than clearly used to be here. A couple of like the table and chairs look relatively new, not exceptionally well made, but nicer than this area would normally be able to buy. Please sit. I'm sorry we don't have more chairs. And you hear the creak of steps as someone is walking up the steps.
Alma will take a seat. Again, so sorry to bother you. It's just your daughter, I'm presuming?
Right, yeah, Alouette. She started working in the Red Lamp District a couple years ago. Pays better than anything here, so.
Right. How long has it been since you've seen her last?
Well, she normally comes by once a week, but I haven't seen her in a couple months now. Been trying to reach out to that place where she works, and they didn't tell me anything. They said their workers' privacy and all that, and I respect that, but she's my daughter.
Do you know where she works?
Yeah, she works at, let me find it. She works at the library. It's a burlesque lounge over there.
I know.
Right. We're just a few girls have turned up. I've treated a few that had some injuries, nothing serious and nothing specific to your daughter or anything. But I was just wondering if she had said anything about, I don't know, some kind of gentleman that might have been hurting people that she knew.
Nothing like that, but she said that she thought she was being followed. Last I talked to her, she said that there was some guy in the shadows at the library watching her performance, and she could swear that he was the one following her home. She never saw anything for certain, but...
And she lived here with you?
Oh, no, she doesn't live here. No, she lives in the Red Lamp. I don't know her address, otherwise I'd stop by there.
Right. Well, perhaps we'll pay a visit to this library for you and see if she can, and she'll glance at Ruby, see if she can write home or come visit.
I'd appreciate that. You don't think anything happened to her, have you?
I would hope nothing serious.
I'm gonna have you roll a play.
I'm
as
so
my
bad.
wife.
Like Amma is not Amma. I don't like. And she has no sway, so it'll be. I'll spend a drive, and it'll be 1 die. Oh god, this is going so well for me today, and that's a 3.
Oh,
Because Ruby
Oh.
does have sway, and that is clearly clearly got this lady like slightly suspicious and worried. Can Ruby kind of cut in at this point to try and distract her? I mean, obviously do whatever on the back of that roll, but she will just sort of like try to come in front of Amma. And I know the library well. It's a wonderful establishment, and the manager there, they look after all of their girls. If we can do anything to find out what's happened to Alouette, we will, and we will report back to you. I'm sure she's fine.
If you say so, you seem like the type that would know. And she's like looking at your clothing compared to everyone else's. Kind of gives a side eye to Amma. Just, you'll tell me if something's wrong with my little girl, won't you?
I promise.
Should I be worried? She's like looking directly at you, Ruby.
Yes.
Right. I appreciate your honesty.
We'll be back.
What was your name?
I'm Ruby Locke.
Nice to meet you, Ruby.
You too.
I'm Etta.
Just stay safe. Keep your doors locked. There are unsavory folk about.
I'll keep that in mind. Y'all be safe too.
Well, thank you for your time. We'll show ourselves out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have offered you tea or something. It's
No, honestly, we should get to the Red Lamp District. You know, we've see if we can find what where Alouette might be.
certainly. Well, I'll keep an eye out. Let me know if you need anything. I'm here.
Will do. And I'll kind of like shepherd them out.
I think the moment that we kind of leave and are away from the house, Ify will just... Is there a reason why we didn't inform them that she's...
We're going to have to tell her, Emma.
We will, but we don't have any evidence besides a ghost right now, Ruby. I would like to at least bring her something concrete.
Okay, but when we return, we must tell her the truth.
I don't disagree.
Also, Ruby, could I take a look at your necklace again?
Yeah, and although I don't have the prop, I'm wearing the red ruby necklace today. So I unclip it, and with a slightly sort of confused expression, I hand it over to Ify.
Thank you. Just, it's got a warm energy to it.
You're welcome to borrow it, Ify. It's. I'd give
Just
you.
for a few moments. It won't take long.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And
What would you like to do with the necklace, Ify?
Ify kind of holding this necklace in her hands, is going to begin just subtly trying to place back the protection on the necklace. So I'm going to use Ritual, which is an ability that I have. If I spend a few minutes to prepare, I can take a bleed mark to give a benefit to a teammate. So it'll be Circle of Protection, and it will soak when you get attacked 1 body mark from the person who gets it. And so Ify, I think she has like a little satchel at her side. And from inside, she takes kind of like a small sewing needle and will just kind of pinprick her thumb and will drop a bit of blood on the gem. And then in the top of her rabbit's cane, there's a bit of salt that she keeps in there, and she'll kind of sprinkle that on top and press that into her palm and just focus on that as they're walking to the Red Lamp District. And I think once we arrive, she's like, yep, very, very nicely warm, just like you, Ruby. Thank you for letting me hold it for a while.
So Ruby, because Ruby struggles with, thinking that Ify doesn't quite like her, and she's never. So just takes the necklace back, very confused. Anytime you can borrow it if you.
Nope, put it on. Thank you, Ruby. What a wonderful day. Let's just get this over and done with, okay?
As we're heading to the Red Lamp District, I'd like to sort of hurry up next to Lucinda and fall in stride with clearly something to say, but doesn't. So kind of walks along next to you for, maybe like half a street, glancing at you every now and then like twiddling her pearls.
Now, Ruby, you know that office hours don't apply to you.
Glance back over my shoulder at everyone else. Lucinda, what if I fall apart? You saw the mess I was in that night. What if I'm a danger to you, or what if I break and I bring risk to everyone here?
Ruby, I fell apart, did I not? And retreated and left you all a person down to face whatever kind of lemur or something that you had to deal with. You're only human, darling. And you're exceptional, and I admire you greatly, but you are only human. You know that, don't you?
Yes, but if my weakness causes any harm to you, I don't know that I could live with that.
Your Nobody's weakness caused the death of these women. It wasn't your weakness or anybody else's. It was the person who killed them that caused them to die. And you are dedicating your time trying to stop it from happening again. I know you're scared, and I think it's fairly obvious that I'm fairly frightened myself. But you're doing what you can, and that's really all you can do, Ruby.
Ruby has tears in her eyes, and she sort of turns away from you and looks down the street as we walk next to each other. She doesn't answer you, but just slips her hand into yours and kind of squeezes.
Lucinda will squeeze back and say, I didn't like being dishonest to that woman, you know.
No, I understand Amma's decision. She wanted something tangible. But we will let her know.
Good.
Let's see if we can resolve this so that we've got something positive to give her.
I suppose. Yes, I suppose it would feel better. It would feel better for us, at least, to be able to say we've done something about it.
Yes. And we will, right?
Yes, yes. We will. You and Ify were right about not telling Mr. Fairlight about Alouette, by the way.
What makes you so certain suddenly?
So I've been doing a little research when I was down my most recent rabbit hole about the unconventional means of containing bleed. And I somewhat have reason to think that perhaps what happens to what we bring back is somewhat final, that perhaps Alouette may not have been able to keep herself if Mr. Fairlight had found out, and I feel just foolish for being so naive, as always.
No. No, you're not naive. You're the you're the spark that gives us all of everything that we need. I don't have the words, Lucinda. I you know me, I don't know books, but if we didn't have your intelligence and everything that you bring, we wouldn't be what we are. And the reason that you wanted to bring the ghost to Fairlight is because you asked the questions, but then you analyze them, and you always come to the right decision.
You're very kind, Ruby. Extend yourself the same kindness if you wouldn't mind terribly. And now we're in your stomping grounds, rather. So it's time to lend some of your own intelligence to this situation, don't you think?
Yes, we're here. To the library.
To the library, which is a beautiful, it's actually in the book. I dropped something. We're going to ignore that. It is a normally and honestly day round the clock, loud and opulent burlesque club / casino. It has a tagline underneath its big sign that says, "Come in and check out." It has, and Ruby would know this, just maze-like rooms. It is massive, and there's a list of performances, like just signs being like, on this day you have this performance, and I just love the names of them, so I'm gonna list them. There's Banned and Censored, Critical Lit, and there's the rub. Also during the day, it is a cafe. So
Out of character, this place sounds lit as hell. Like, when are we going?
right? I want to go to this place. It sounds so cool.
Field trip.
Yeah, but it is round the clock, bustling and busy, even during the daytime.
Ruby transforms when we enter. So the second we go through the door, she's just talking to everyone as she passes in. Darling, oh my gosh, how long has it been? Esmeralda, I heard you got married.
Too long.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and she like shows off the biggest ring imaginable.
And I do the whole kind of like finding us a table and ordering off the menu and just like completely sort of take control at this point. And then when we're sort of settled, I'll look at everyone. Okay, so what do you think we need to do first?
Ify?
Well, we perhaps trying to get a description of what this individual looks like might be the best course of action, right? Especially if he frequents here and can change his form, then
Sorry, go on.
I think we need to find out if any of these girls feel like they're being watched.
Exactly. If we speak to the manager, they will know the last night that Alouette worked. Maybe someone saw something. And like you say, if any of the other girls feel like they're being watched, then maybe they'll know what he looks like. But I fear that he can change.
But you know some of these girls.
I'm going to circulate. Perhaps you should talk to the manager. I'll introduce you.
I love Alma's hesitancy here.
Well, the last talk went so well.
it really did.
I won't be opposed. It will probably be better for you to navigate around a bit easier if you're by yourself. They might talk to you a bit more.
You do yourself a disservice, but I shall mingle. I'll see what I can find out. I'll call if I can see the manager at any point. I don't know who the manager might be. I'm kind of making this up.
No, you're fine. Go ahead and roll a survey for me.
Oh yeah.
This is not a low. Sorry, this is not a low. This is not a high difficulty at all. I'm just curious to see.
It's a 5.
Hey, 5. Absolutely. You know the manager, Gray Holman. They are are one who blend the feminine and masculine looks. They tend to wear like really slim cut suits, but like big flamboyant beads and all of the rings, just wild hairstyles. Today their hair is like a bright, shocking green against the gray of their suit, and there's a massive white flower on their shoulder, and they're just greeting everyone like big splashy makeup, and they immediately lock eyes with you and go, "Ruby, darling,
Darling,
how long has
mwah,
it been?
mwah."
What are you doing here? I never see you in the library."
Well, it's work, but you know, I've got a little time off, so I thought I'd come and see you. I would like you to introduce to my friends. This is Arma Stonebridge, Lucinda Brisley, and Ify Abara. Forgot your surname.
Yeah. That's all right.
This is
It
Grey
is
Holm.
lovely to meet all of you. Hello there. First time here?
Yes, it's very loud.
Yeah, that it is. I hope that's all right. You know, we do have some quieter rooms if you would like that. We tend to have some spacious areas, but there are other options.
I will let you know.
Ray, we're here partially to, well, help out the Weaver family. I believe Alouette has not been showing up for work. Is this correct?
You mean the lovely Lark?
I do.
Yeah, she's been missing for a while. I thought she ran off with some boo, honestly.
Well, would you be a darling and just spare a few minutes to talk to my friends here, perhaps? Just answer their questions, and I'm going to go and mingle, but I'll be back.
There's something going on, isn't there?
There might be. We're worried about her.
Right. Well, I'd say that probably a better place to talk is my office. Ruby, darling, you know where that is. You swing by when you're done with whatever you're doing.
I'll see you there.
See you around. Please join me. And if the three of you want to, they lead you over. It's actually just behind the bar. There is a much smaller, rather cramped, but it looks like a mixture of an office and a changing room. Like there are costumes all over the place on racks, and it's very muffled in here because of that. And they gesture to a sofa, like a bright purple sofa that is off on one side, and there's another armchair, and they sit behind the desk. Please sit down. There are a couple of options to sit right over here, and if Ify would like, they kind of guide you in that general direction.
Yeah, Ify will settle herself in and just kind of let out a breath now that the sound's slightly muffled and not so intense.
Mm-hmm.
Lucinda's going to cast her eye around. Are any of these costumes lying around similar to the one that the dress that the woman we found at the memorial was wearing?
That's an interesting point, and this doesn't require a roll.
Okay.
There are several in different colors that are very similar.
Okay.
So they sit down behind their desk and just steeple their fingers under their chin. So tell me, what's got y'all up here? It seems serious to me.
Well, I am a daughter of a kind, and some young entertainers appear to be turning up missing or with injuries. You mentioned that the lovely lark, as it were, you thought she had run off with some boat. Did she seem the type to do that?
She's a rather flighty person. That's just what I thought, but if you're talking about who I think you're talking about, that would explain a lot.
So you know of the wolf, then?
Darling, I live in the Red Lamp District. I know the wolf.
Are any other girls of yours having not shown up for work recently? Anyone you were expecting?
Let me check the roster. Hang on. And they like put up these teeny tiny little spectacles on their nose and are like rifling through papers on their desk. It says here Lily's supposed to be in an hour ago, and she hasn't shown up.
Does she have red hair?
Yeah, it's part of what got her name. Long red hair. None of my girls use their real names.
I'm sorry to have to bring you the possibly unfortunate news that Lily is no longer with us.
Where was she found?
The War Memorial.
And they're just shaking their head. She's only been with me for a month. Poor girl.
Did you notice any new client come in with interest in Lily as of recent?
Can't say that I have, but you know, I hire a lot of people. Upwards of 30 or so. I could get you the exact numbers, but you know what? I'm not going to roll this for them, but roll a sway for me.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't mean for that sound to come out.
I love it. Can I spend a drive to help?
Yeah, sure. How are you going to help?
I think I'll just Lucinda will do her most professionally look and say, perhaps it's high time that you use some of that budget to hire people to escort your young ladies home if you're aware of the wolf.
He's been missing for quite some time, darling.
And so have 2 of your employees.
More than that.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 6.
Hey.
Wow, Lucinda coming in clutch.
Yep.
Go on, Evie.
And so, like, as you're saying that, and they mutter more than 2 under their breath, they have a moment where they pause. You know, there's all sorts who come through here, and, you know, I don't judge unless they get handsy without permission, and then I judge. But I've found recently, not every night, there's been a gentleman in the back. You get that sometimes. They don't want to be seen. Maybe they're not supposed to be here. Who cares, honestly? But it seemed to me like he was blending in to the background. Like he wasn't fully present. There are times that I forgot he was even there. And then I'd glance around, concentrate, and I could see him again. Felt a little bit odd, but, you know, there's no magic in the world. That's not a thing. So didn't really think much of it. But who knows? Maybe there's a little something more to him than I thought.
Do you remember what he looked like? What he was wearing?
I wish I could say I recognized his face, but it was in the dark. He wears a distinctive suit, though. Red rose tucked into the buttonhole. Anything more than that? Can't tell you.
I'm so normal about this.
I knew his staring freaked me out for a reason.
Ooh.
Hi, I just love seeing all of those beautiful expressions.
Lily, did she actively report to you that she felt like she was being watched, that someone was following her home, anything like that?
She was a superstitious sort. She was spooked by any little thing, to be honest. Yeah, but I didn't take much stock to it. I wish I had.
Is there anyone else that you are currently wishing you had listened to right now?
They glanced down at the list. Back up. Amber. She has been saying similar things. She's on stage right now, so I know that she's safe for the moment.
Right. Well, perhaps we'll see if there is anyone blending into the background while Amber is performing.
Yes.
You tell me if there is. I'll happily take care of them.
We will be sure to inform you.
We will let you know.
Right then. Well, better get back out there. This place doesn't manage itself. This has been most informative. Thank you. Good to know that the wolf is back. Ugh. And they show you to the door. Meanwhile, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying we shuffle away out.
So meanwhile, Ruby, what have you been doing?
Circulating, darling.
I would looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, I would have latched onto like a couple of the girls that I'm kind of more familiar with. I wouldn't have rushed into questions. I would have it would have been drinks, a bit of gossip, and I would have like worked it into the conversation at some point. It's like you know, oh, so I heard from Daisy that the wolf is back. I really thought that was over. You know, what have you heard? And kind of like bring it into the conversation that way.
And it's Esmeralda with a massive ring who you're talking to, and she just he's back. As in the Red Lamp.
This is what I've heard. Have you not heard? So, yeah, the girls have been reporting, saying that they've been watched. Someone's been following them home. It's got me all really worked up again.
I mean, I understand why, but God, I thought he was gone for good. No, there's some unsavory types who come through every now and again, but we don't think much of it.
So you've not heard anything? Oh.
At night, he creeps us out. Stay away from him. He doesn't bother us. We don't bother him. Tends to be over in the corner over there. And she like nods over to just one side. And you see like the performance area, and Amber is up on stage performing right now. And at the back, there is another bar. And there are a couple of clustered like smaller tables. And there's one off kind of in a shadowy corner. No one there at the moment.
So that's where he sits.
Yeah.
We had a similar thing back in the day. Amber looks exquisite as always.
She does. She has to be during the day for a little while.
Amber did?
Yeah. She usually performs. She's our headliner at night, but...
Yeah. So what does she want a day spot?
She hasn't been feeling safe. Leaving 2, 3 in the morning. I don't blame her. It's not the most fun when you don't live in-house, you know, but...
When does her set finish?
She looks around. Probably another couple of songs and she'll be done.
Another?
Yeah.
I'll grab another drink. But I will look to try and catch Amber when she comes off the stage.
And I would say that you working the room, all of that, around this time is when that conversation in the office is finished.
As we walk out, I would love to have a cast around looking at the booths, the shadowy areas where people hide at the back, and spot someone who's trying very hard not to look directly at me. And I hope you will allow this. It's a slightly unconventional use of an ability called University Resources.
Please tell me how you're going to use university resources.
I love this.
The university has alumni all
burlesque.
over the world, and once per session, I can describe somebody who I know from my tenure as a professor. So,
Yes.
I would love to light up and say, Dr. Grayson, hello there.
Dr. Grayson. Okay. This is let me
How's the wife?
Oh no. The tea, it's spilt. The tea, it's spilt.
I'm trying to find his name. Hang on. Horace, who, if you remember from the first session, scrawling handwriting, he looks up at you and goes, "Oh, hello there. What are you doing here, Dr. Briersley?"
So funny to run into you. I'm just here with my graduate student, and I'll sort of just gesture to Efi, doing some fascinating research on the history of commerce and the way that sort of old Farian exchanges of you know what, can influence the way that modern approaches to brothels are put together. And I suppose that you, as an anthropologist, are here to sort of study the clientele. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. That is exactly why I'm here. And he takes a long swig of his beer.
Of course, absolutely, yes. Well, you know, I saw Professor Grayson over in the chemistry department just yesterday, and she was saying that she hadn't seen you much. I suppose that's because you've been here. Is that right?
Okay, I need you to roll sway. Start.
Okay.
I'm having a breakdown.
I'm going to spend the drive.
Can I give you a drive as well?
Yes, please.
Can we all give you
just
drive?
yeah, we all want to give you a drive.
Put one drop off the table. I got a 5.
A 5, a mixed success. He clears his throat and says, "What do you want? And please do not tell my wife that I am here."
Have you happened to come across anybody who wears a rose in their upper lapel?
He glances off to the side, to the other side, kind of narrows his eyes for a moment. Yeah, matter of fact, I have. Can't recall a face though. Kind of I want to say a younger chap. Not the nicest suit in the world, but you know, blood red rose in the buttonhole. Yeah, I wish I could recall his features. Seems odd that.
It does rather. What time does he tend to arrive and leave?
Around dinner time or so. Leaves not shortly after the last performance. Not that I'm here that long. You know, I go home.
Of course. Well, you know, we all know what it's like to put in long stints at the library, don't we? So.
Quite right. I'm very busy studying at the library.
Of course.
Yep.
One last question. You know, this is rather a rough part of town. Do you ever tend to carry any sort of self-defense with you?
I mean, I have my pistol from the war, and he like pats to one side.
Wonderful. Would you be so kind as to let me borrow it?
Borrow it?
You know where to find me. My office hours are extensive.
Right, borrow it. Sure. Yep, that. You never saw me at the library. And he like carefully shifts and like hands you his gun. You have a pistol now.
Consider it ancient history, Dr. Grayson. Lovely to see you.
Right.
Lucinda.
takes the longest swig of his beer. And just like turns and is not looking at you.
That was savage.
Oh.
So good.
Michelle just won Candela Obscura.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Cinder will pop the pistol in her satchel just in case, and then rejoin the others with Evie.
Amma would be so impressed.
He's asking questions about why it was bad that his wife didn't know he was here. Is just trying to understand why.
Oh, Evie, darling, you remember that very complicated book I was talking about? The pages. This is one of the pages.
Seems a lot. Seems like there's a lot that I don't know.
It's in the chapter marks infidelity.
Oh my.
You know, it all comes back to honesty and transparency. If his wife was to know he was here, then I'd have no problem at all. But I do think it's rather unseemly not to let her know what you're up to.
Right. Oh dear. Good luck to him then.
Indeed. Yes, well, he is a budget holder, so I feel like next time I need to request an extension on the grant, I'll have a little bit more ease than I have in the past.
So you all rejoin Ruby right around the end of Amber's set, I would say.
Were you successful then?
Well, there is someone unnerving the girls. Amber, come and join us. There is someone unnerving the girls. What did you find?
As far as we can tell, the person who is responsible for all of this tends to stay until the last performance of the evening.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Amber, who's coming now, Esmeralda informs me that she thinks she's being watched.
We got the same from the manager.
Yeah.
That's what she has to say.
And Amber, you see, she has like this big flamboyant, almost like butterfly wing dress, like just flowing all around her. She has very like perfectly curled blonde hair, big old stage makeup on, and she just goes, "Oh, hey there, Ruby, how's it going?" Like gives you kisses on the cheeks.
I go through the pleasantries, but fairly swiftly go quite serious because of the nature of it and everything.
Yeah.
Amber, listen, I don't mean to kind of put you on a spot, but I've heard from some of the girls that you think you're being watched, and I don't know if you remember what happened to me, but I was just...
It's... and she immediately starts like crying.
Hey.
I don't know who he is. He's been watching my sets the past couple of weeks, and I thought that maybe if I changed to the daytime, then it would be safer, and I feel safe so far. But what's this about?
Well, that's good, Amber. You stay to the day shifts. You'll be fine. But it's only going to make him target someone else. So if you can tell us anything about him, anything that you remember, it'll help.
I swear I can just sense him watching me. It's like this jolt of energy down my spine, and I swear his eyes glowed yellow in the lights. I couldn't see anything else, but I saw that yellow gold, and it just freaked me out. when that happened, that's when I asked Gray to switch to the daytime. I thought something might happen.
Who did
It's the right
you
thing. Sorry, Emma.
switch with?
She thinks for a moment as I look at my random name list. With Estelle. She said she wanted her shot at the big stage, and so I gave it to her.
And that was just this. How long ago?
Only in the past week or so, I want to say. Oh, who am I kidding? It's been 5 days. Been keeping track.
Yeah. You tend to remember.
I haven't seen him since, so at least I don't think I have.
When's Estelle due in, Amber?
A couple of hours from now. No. Doing the math here. That takes a minute. Hang on.
Is she on the
Probably
6th?
around. Yeah, she's on 6.
Okay. Listen, stick to what you're doing, and make sure put the word around. Just let the girls know, okay?
Yeah, I will. You said this was to do with what you dealt with before.
Yeah, we think he's back.
I'll let everyone know.
Thank you.
You bet. And I'll let Estelle know especially. If he's after her next, and I don't want anything to happen to her just because I switch shifts.
No, it's okay. We'll see her too, and I'll put my hand on hers and be like, "We're gonna stop this."
Can you?
I have friends now, and I'll nod at my motley assortment. It'll be fine. Just trust me.
If you say so. Be safe,
Hey.
Ruby.
I'm the one that got away, right?
Doesn't that make it more dangerous for you?
Take care.
You too. Thank you for the warning. She gives you a kiss, blows you a kiss, and heads backstage.
I look at the others. So, we watch Estelle's set.
That seems to be where this is going.
Sounds good.
And I would say, time change, time change, time change. Because we don't need to act out this whole thing. You stay, you watch, you wait. And Gray comes by. They are absolutely giving you all of the free food and drink that you want. They get the sense that you know a little bit more than you should, and they want to make sure that you're comfortable. And yeah.
I would just also like to point out that no one has yet told Ruby about the lapel. So that's a thing.
Yeah, we should probably.
Yeah, I feel like we would like going over if we have all of this time. I'll just say if we have all this time in between.
Okay, fair enough. Sport.
We need to think of a game plan.
Do you have a game plan? Please tell me. Please. What y'all got going on?
Lucinda with a gun.
Yeah, it's just
Lucinda does have a gun.
just Lucinda with a gun. We could, I don't know, maybe one of us should be backstage, a couple of us watching, trying to see who comes in and who sits in that shadowy corner.
Evie can try and keep her senses open for any any nefarious energies that come in, and we'll help keep watch. And then
Okay.
I think with my given my like association to these kind of places, that I'm probably the best place to maybe go backstage so I can be quite close to Esmeralda and act as some sort of defense.
Yeah, I think Lucinda would want to stay close to Evie. Would stay with her wherever she is.
Okay. And Amma?
I'm trying to figure out what would be a. Maybe I'll put Amma in the crowd itself.
Okay. So it ebbs and flows as these kinds of places do over the time. I would say, Ruby, you meet up with Estelle when she gets in. She seems a little bit nervous, but like excited, nervous energy. Like she's still brand new to the headliner stage, and that part is very exciting for her. She has, she's probably around 20 years old. She's young. But you know that she has a beautiful singing voice, and she is just vibrant and full of that like excited, nervous energy, you know, as she's getting ready.
And I definitely don't tell her why we're here because I don't want to kind of like kill her show. I'm all here for the support. I heard you had this act, and oh my god, it's amazing. And so I'm going to be, you know, just like making that I've come backstage to kind of hang out with her and sort of support her in a headline act and all this bit.
And she knows you. She knows your name. Hasn't interacted with you much. And the fact that the Ruby Locke is hanging out backstage with her is like so exciting for Estelle. And she's like, oh, I can't believe that you came here to see my performance and you want to be backstage. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, I mean the pleasure's all mine. I can't wait to see you perform. I've caught you a couple of times, and I just think you're made for this.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world to me. Like very, very excited, over the top. Meanwhile, actually, I'm gonna have everyone roll this. You can either roll focus or sense.
1 or 0.
He will spend a drive.
A 5 from focus.
Nice.
That's a 1.
Ooh.
I got a 6. I have
He
3
got
in
a 6.
focus.
Okay. As you are taking your places, waiting around, Ify, you've been around Alouette the longest at this point, and you've started to get a sense, no pun intended, of her energy. And there's something, it's like it's sticking at the back of your mind. This tackiness to her energy is the best I can describe it as. That as you are just sitting here in this flow of humans, there's this pull coming from a figure walking in to this room. Like you can tell that there's something not quite right. And that with that 6, there's that sense of, oh, whoever this is covered in bleed.
I think Ify will immediately kind of grab for Lucinda's shoulder and will kind of point in the general direction where she's sensing that tug.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's here.
Yeah, I see.
And Lucinda and Amma, because even mixed success, you are like scanning around. Obviously, Lucinda, you're right there, but you look in that direction and you've seen this person before. with Ruby very recently. You see walking in, a red rose in his lapel, Desperate Harry, making his way to that table and taking his place. And as he does, the shadows consume him. It's like this expression of who he is gets swallowed up by the darkness.
I'll lean over to Evie and I'll say, I saw him for a moment. It was that Harry person. But it's like I can't see him anymore. None of us can see him. You can probably sense him better than any of us.
Do I still sense him, or did...
You do, yes.
Okay.
That sense of that otherness, that bleed is still there. And you can see that, like Lucinda and Amma, you can see something there. You can see the shadow of like the suit. There's clearly a body sitting at that table, but it's just the expression like from chest up. Like basically that rose, everything above it you cannot see.
Right. I can still sense him. Do we tell Ruby now? I mean, this individual is close with Ruby, right?
Yes, maybe. Someone should stay near him. I'll try and catch Arma's eye and sort of see if I can kind of just like signal to her that like we need to let Ruby know that he's here and what we've seen.
Amma will see that you're trying to signal her and just give like a really sharp, short nod.
I think Arma's going to tell her. We should stay and keep an eye.
Okay.
Amma will quietly try to move through the crowd to get towards the backstage area.
Yeah, there's a bouncer at the entrance, just like looming a little bit, like looking down at you. Can I help you?
I need to speak with Ruby.
Does she know you're here?
Well, you could waste your time and mine by standing here and asking me that, or you can get her for me.
So I'm gonna have you roll sway.
God, why do I keep having to do this? This is not my forte.
You keep doing things related to sway.
Okay. I'm going to spend my last drive. So I have one die, and hopefully it doesn't go poorly, and I have a resistance, so it's a 3.
Okay. Out of curiosity, when Evie helped you and you failed, did you take back a drive?
I didn't. I did not. Oh, thank you.
Because you have that circle ability. So, and Evie, you would also get to take back a drive of your choice. Just FYI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
So it can be something different than what you spent. So would you like to have added that drive to your roll? Or would you like to have
yeah. No, I'll add it. Yeah.
Okay. Giving you the option. We're in the last little bit of this game.
Yeah, I mean...
Worse? Your dice do not like you today.
I cannot persuade people today. It's not for me.
You know what? The dice tell the story.
Full moon.
This figure just continues to stand, like, glaring down at you. But luckily, Gray is around and sees this and rushes over. It's like, darling, 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 it's fine. She's with Ruby. Don't worry. You can go in. Go on. Kind of like smacks the bodyguard. Come on. I tell you that there are people here who are doing important things and you don't pay attention. What do I pay you for? Like, it's just like ranting at this person and you can go past.
Alma is just like barely acknowledging the giant person. She's like, thank you, Gray. And just slips past into the back. And immediately is like, Ruby, Ruby, Ruby.
Ruby and Esmeralda are probably just like in uproarious laughter and just like, hey, oh, Amma, hi. Shouldn't you be out the front?
He's here.
I flick a glance at Esmeralda so that I hope she doesn't pick up on the vibes. Esmeralda, I'm just going to go and see my friends for a minute, okay? You're going to be great, and I'm going to be here watching you the whole time, all right?
Estelle,
you're going to be great. Yeah, I'll come out with Amma.
Now, Ruby, darling, I don't want you to... It's Harry.
What's Harry? I thought we were waiting for...
Desperate Harry is the current face of the wolf.
Amma.
She's deathly serious.
But no, it can't be Amma because I've spent time alone with her.
Ruby, I don't know if he's just wearing Harry's face or if it is Harry.
Okay. It ends tonight. I'm going to stay with Estelle. Stick to the plan. We got this.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, Ruby's shaking slightly, but she's got a steely look in her eye.
Amma will retreat back to... She'll give Ruby's hands a very solid squeeze and then retreat back to
But she grabs you one last time just as you're leaving. Amma.
Yes.
Be safe.
Of course.
Look after the others.
You take care, Ruby.
I love you.
I love you as well.
Right. And she heads out backstage.
Okay. So what's the plan exactly?
I think when Amma gets back to where Lucinda and Effie are, Lucinda's going to say, I know you weren't keen on Ruby's suggestion, but we can't let this Estelle go up there when we know he's here. And if Ruby can lead him away, then the three of us can follow. I think we should tell Gray that Estelle mysteriously is feeling unwell, but fortunately the famous Ruby Locke is here and could perform tonight.
So, you want to use Ruby as bait?
I don't want to use Ruby as bait, but I certainly don't want to use Estelle as bait. At least Ruby has an idea of what's going on.
Amma looks visibly ill the more you go into this plan. It's very upsetting that I can't think of something better right now.
Neither can I. I'm a little worried. This individual, the amount of bleed on this individual is intense. Strong enough to break the protection that I placed on Ruby, and I'm concerned that if we do this, we might not be able to help Ruby.
I don't have a better idea. And nobody else is helping. So we're going to have to figure something out between us and look out for each other. I don't know what other choice we have.
Well, fine. And Ruby can hopefully handle herself for a little while.
I'll tell Gray. And Lucinda will head over and relay the idea.
Mm-hmm. If you think that's what's best, I see him over there. You sure this is the best plan?
If you've got a better one, I'm all ears.
Wish I could say that I have, but I don't think storming him is going to be the best plan.
I certainly don't want anything to start up with all these people around.
All right, then. I'll keep an eye out. I'll let Ruby know.
Thank you.
And they head backstage to Ruby and relay the plan.
Ruby just nods, like, yeah, she just gives an emphatic nod, and then she looks at Gray and says, "I'll deal with Estelle," and heads back into the changing room.
Hi, Ruby.
Estelle.
Uh-huh.
It has come to my attention that you are in danger.
Well, what do you mean?
Listen to me. I'll take her hands. I'm going to take your slot tonight. I will give you 5 nights at the Fair Play in my slot.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I mean...
I know you're looking forward to this, but it's too dangerous. You have to trust me.
All right, then. Yeah. Are you going to be okay?
I'll be fine. I've got people watching out for me.
Okay. Well, thank you.
It's my pleasure. Now listen, Gray's going to call you a cab, and I need you to get home.
Okay. Whatever you say, Ruby.
Turn up at the Fair Play, and you've got 5 nights.
Right. Thank you. She gives you a really big hug. This is like you're the biggest fan of a person, and they're just like, hey, take my spot for 5 nights. Yeah, you want to be in this Broadway show? Sure, go for it.
And, marketing chip.
Yep. And she heads out, and you hear Gray calling and making the announcement that the beautiful Ruby Locke has joined us for 1 night only. And the crowd is going wild. Lucinda and Amma, you see a hesitant moment with that figure of Harry, and then he starts to applaud with everyone else.
As Ruby leaves the changing room, she walks out. She glances to the left as she leaves the door, and she sees the fire station sort of thing. There's a sand bucket and a fire axe on the wall. She grabs the axe and just drags it near to the curtain behind the stage. And she's about to go on stage, and then she just looks back at the fire bucket full of sand and thinks of something else, which we might come back to depending on how things go.
I am super curious now. Also, apologies for the dog barking outside my window.
And takes to the stage, I guess.
Okay. So, would you like to describe what kind of performance you're doing, or shall we transition over? Either way.
Ruby goes all out, I think, for her
Mhm.
sort of like, blockbusting numbers and her classic kind of red apple act at the end, which
Mhm.
she may throw in Harry's direction at the end of the act.
I'm gonna have you roll. That would be control. Just to see how far the apple goes, basically.
I'm going to spend my drive on that.
Uh-huh.
It's a 4.
That's a 4. Mixed success. You do manage to lob the apple in his direction, which is impressive because it's in the back corner. But where you're trying to hit him, he just snatches it out of the air. And you don't see this, but takes a bite. Sets it on the table in front of him.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's more a kind of, because it's a thing that she does. She bites the apple and then throws it to someone in the audience kind of thing. And so it's sort of
Yeah.
indicator.
And Lucinda and Amma, that bite out of the apple is massive.
Oh no.
The apples.
The performance is a roaring success. I'm not going to make you roll anything for your performance. This is what you do as your profession. Everyone is applauding, going crazy, going wild. So happy to get to see the Ruby Lock in performance where it's not as expensive as it would have been otherwise. And as all of this applause is happening, I would like for your 3 companions to roll either focus or sense for me.
Five.
4.
6.
Okay, mixed successes and a full success. So as that performance is going on, the applause is all over. People are jumping up and shouting for one more song. That bleed, like a flicker, not the flicker, but a flicker, goes out. And for Amma and Lucinda, you glance away, glance back, and he's gone.
And for Ruby,
the
I think
apple is still there, by the way.
she has no. She's doing like kisses, goes behind the curtain, comes back one more time, flicks her heel, and then kind of backstage. So she's doing the kind of draw away thing.
Ify, he's gone.
Yes. I can't sense him here. Did you see where he went?
No, we have to find Ruby right now. I think Lucinda's been unconsciously just like holding onto Evie's hand the whole time, and much less politely and carefully than she usually would guide Evie. She's just going to drag her along with her as she runs up to Gray or the bouncer or whoever's around, and is like, "Which way did the performers leave?"
Gray is like on high alert and just gestures to the back. There's a space out to the alleyway over there. If Ruby was going to go out for a smoke or something, that's where she'd go.
Right.
Okay.
And Ruby, as you leave the stage, you come to the space where you have the axe, you have that sand, and you just hear a voice coming from behind you. Hello, Ruby darling. It has been A little bit of time, I would say.
Ruby freezes. As she left the stage, she had put her hand into like a little bag on her side to get her perfume, but she hasn't been able to like take it out in time, and she freezes. Do I recognize the voice like as Harry, or do I recognize the voice now as like the wolf from back then?
It sounds like a mixture of the two. Like it's not fully one or the other. Just that gentle tone of Harry with the rumble of the wolf overlaid.
There's probably a bit of a shake in her voice. She's trying to be like as steely as possible, but she's like, Harry, are you cheating on me? I thought you'd be at the fair play, not at the library.
Just a rumbling laughter. Low.
And I break into a run.
Ruby. You just hear that laughter as he makes chase.
She's
Where
tried
do
to
you
grab
go?
well, she's tried to grab the axe, but she can't.
Okay.
He's too close. So she leaves the axe. It's going to run. She knows where the exits are. She's going to run for the exit in the alleyway and just hope her friends are coming.
Okay, I'm going to have you roll move
as
you're trying to run.
So this is going to be interesting. It is disadvantage.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Because I spent my last drive. I think we all know what that is.
2 6s? 2 6s. Must be.
I have no drive, no resistance. So that is a 1.
Oh, what?
Oh.
As you go trying to run to the exit, that arm snakes out and immediately grabs onto yours. And he goes, not so fast, Ruby. We have unfinished business. And as he wrenches you towards him, you are going to take one body as he tugs a little bit too hard on your arm. But as that happens, this is around the time. Yeah. Oh, yes.
May I use Death Defy?
What?
May I use Death Defy?
Ooh, do tell. Do tell.
As he grabs my arm and pulls me back round to face him, as he goes to pull me, I'm scrabbling desperately, kind of like behind me, and I just managed to hook my fingers onto the rope that I've knotted near the fire station and just yank it and duck as the bucket of sand sort of like swings down from the bars behind. Just buy me a second to avoid that mark.
I love that so much. And absolutely yes. So as he has swung you around, you face him, you see the elongation of that bestial wolf-like face. Harry's not here anymore. As you tug on that rope and it comes crashing down, he has to jump back to avoid it, breaking away from you.
So I get to scrabble away.
And this is around the time that your 3 companions come rushing in. And that is the scene you see before you.
Lucinda has the gun.
Yes, she does. What would you like to do with the gun?
Lucinda's not exactly a crack shot, but she took shooting. She is going to aim that pistol, which is a bit heavier than the mother of pearl inlaid pistol that she stole from her father. But she reckons she can shoot it. She's going to point it at the shape that just had a loud crash into it and a pile of sand appear, which kind of made it a bit obvious where it was, and shoot.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead and roll control for me.
Okay, time to spend a drive and hope for the best. That brings me up to 2 though. A 6.
Woo!
The other one was a 1, so thank goodness for that 6.
Oh, 100%. Would you like to describe what this is, keeping in mind that it is not, it does not down him?
Okay.
So would you like to describe this?
Yeah. So I think Lucinda
she hears the crash and she sees the sand billowing, and she holds on for a moment long enough to see the kind of glisten of sequins as Ruby gets out of the way. And she knows that that means it's safe to take a shot. And, you know, she went to a nice school where shooting was on the curriculum. So although she's hardly good at fighting, she at least knows how to hold up a gun, point it, and pull the trigger. And she just hopes to heck that she can do something.
Yeah, and the shot crack goes off. You hear some noise because you're just backstage. You hear some noise from the audience, like people, like a couple people screaming, going, "What was that?" And you hear Gray trying to calm people down, and there's like this. You can tell there's a mad rush. A rush of people leaving. But you crack off this shot, and you see the form kind of becoming more solid as the bullet sinks into the shoulder, and he screams, and it's this bestial scream. It is not human at all. As he kind of slumps down a little bit onto one knee, holds his arm, and his extremely wolf-like face is looking straight at you.
You're muted, Sakaya.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Just before the other two act, I'd like to kind of aid them slightly by using that. So the shot and the pain and me being able to scrabble away, I would like to use my hide to try and distract and basically try and bring his attention back to me and keep drawing him after me so that the other two can focus without him like going for Lucinda.
Okay, go ahead and roll hide for me in that case.
Okay, so I have 2 gilded dice in hide.
Hey.
That's a 4 on a gilded die.
4 on a gilded, so you get a drive back.
Yes. Anyway.
And he is moderately distracted by you. He's also distracted by, you know, getting shot, and that hurts. Yeah. But he is scrabbling towards you, and the more he is like getting distracted and getting like into this moment, the less human he is becoming. And he kind of glints at you, and it's more guttural voice than anything as he says, "Everything beautiful dies in the end. I'm just helping to speed up the process," and is launching, and you see the shadows all warp around you, and with the mixed success, you are going to take another bleed as those shadows reach out to you.
Can Ify help with that? So Ify would like to use her premonition ability to get a friendly little whisper, perhaps from a nearby wayward spirit to sorry, I'm just reading the ability to give her warning of oncoming danger. So I imagine that this spirit kind of whispers in Ify's ear that Ruby is about to be attacked. And
so interestingly, as you call upon this ability, you get that sense of Alouette snapping up directly beside you as she whispers to you, "He's going after her. Please, you need to help."
Ruby, watch out! And as she calls out that premonition and says, "Duck," that will hopefully give Ruby enough warning to not take a mark.
Okay.
It says then soak one of these marks. Does that mean Ify takes that instead? Okay, cool.
Yes. I don't remember if soak terminology is weird. So I'm going to say that you take the mark instead. So Ruby, you do not take the bleed mark. Ify does.
Okay.
And
I
if
think
that's not the case, then whatever.
so. I go. I probably still kind of go clattering to the floor, maybe like
Yeah.
tumbling away, sort of like near the curtain of the stage,
Mhm.
and maybe like a few feet away from me, I can just see the axe. You know, just
Mhm.
out of arm's reach.
Oh. That was very dramatic.
That was the axe.
Yep. Amma, is there anything you'd like to do?
I think Alma is going to take out the tried and true trusted dagger, and is going to, swifter than she's ever moved before, run towards this wolf and try to stab it through its back,
Okay.
aiming for vitals.
Which, as a doctor, you can do for sure. That sounds like your call, either strike or control.
I'll do control because that's gilded.
Valid.
5 on the gilded.
Amazing. 5 on the gilded. You know exactly where to strike, and strike true indeed you do. As you do on a mixed success, you can feel Ify had said that he was soaked in bleed. And now you get that sense why, as this feeling of electricity shooting up your arm makes it go numb briefly for a moment. You're still able to hold on to the dagger, but as you pull away, your arm is almost blackened and like it's been burned, and you are going to take a bleed.
We're not going to be able to kill him like this. We need to find his weakness. Ify, can you sense anything? I might be able to. If you can sense anything on him, I might be able to get it.
Ify will nod and try and focus. Is there any particular thing about his energy that, like, almost like I've forgotten how words work. Like gathers in one spot almost, or like is there a heart, like a bleed heart or some kind of?
I love that. And you can tell that there's something at his core, at his chest, that is overwhelmingly giving off that bleed.
Aim for the chest.
Got it.
Ruby is going to scrabble forward at him. I'd like to try and use like sleight of hand to whip that rose out of his lapel and sort of like get his focus on that to spin him round into sort of like so he's square onto Lucinda as I sort of run past him.
Okay, go ahead and roll that hide for sleight of hand.
It's a 4 on the gilded die.
Incredible. You whip out your hand, grab on to that rose, and it's just enough to distract him to spin in your direction. Lucinda, what would you like to do?
Lucinda's still holding that gun, and she's going to shoot again.
Go for it.
Okay.
I'm looking at Harry and I'm like, you're so beautiful, Harry. And everything beautiful dies.
Spend another drive so I can roll 2 again. It's another 6.
Yes.
So Ruby says this, and he growls in her face right as that second shot goes off. He freezes, tilts his head in confusion, and you can't imagine what confusion on a wolf's face looks like, but it does, as he just rattles out a breath and collapses to the ground. All of those shadows, all coalescing around him, disperse.
Ruby collapses to the floor.
Ruby, are you okay? And Ife's just trying to find her way to where she can hear your heavy
Ragged
breathing, I'm
breathing,
assuming.
yeah. I'm okay. Lucinda, where did you learn to fire like that?
I had a very comprehensive education, darling. Alma, please help her. You're the only one who can.
I start laughing, and it just turns into... I just start crying. Just big sobs.
Alma is going to look at her hand, check that it's still mostly functioning. All right. She'll go and tend to Ruby. Can we, as she steps over though, she's going to step over. Can she make sure that he is dead?
One last jump scare.
Go ahead and roll a focus test for me.
All right. 4 and a 5.
He is unequivocally, absolutely dead.
Wonderful.
Good.
All right, Ruby. Let's see what we have.
Alma, your hand.
Oh, it's fine. I'll treat that in a trick. Don't worry about that.
Did you get hurt?
Mildly. But I am a doctor, dears. I can take care of it, most likely.
You'll be fine, Alma. You're the best doctor we know.
She's a little taken aback by that from Lucinda. She's like, thank you, Lucinda. Honestly, I'm surprised hearing that from you.
Listen, I've been doing a lot of research, and I think that your techniques have an excellent grounding in history, and I imagine you could have told me that in the first place, but now that we know it, I think that we could potentially put together some real convincing academic literature that would get more of these quacks out there doing more of what you do.
You want to publish? You know what? We'll talk about this later.
Right, yes, both of us. Let me... I just want to take a glance at the figure that was the wolf and see it. Now that the shadows and that effect of not being able to focus on the features has dispersed, what remains looks like.
It looks like Harry. Just Harry. Nothing special or out of the ordinary, just a regular guy who's been shot 2 times at the back.
Dear desperate Harry. As Alma's treating Ruby, I reach out a hand and grasp Ife's hand. Thank you. And thank you, Alouette. There's no way to word this to them, but basically that premonition saved Ruby from getting a bleed scar. It was going to be 4 bleed.
Well, that's quite all right. Just make sure you keep wearing that necklace for me, yes?
Sure. Okay.
So as you say, thank you, Alouette, for the warning, you see all of you now, and with the flicker, you can sense where she is, Ify. Alouette is standing here on the stage, in the backstage, of course, but she's standing here looking out at all of you and just laughs and says, thank you. Thank you for stopping him from hurting anyone else. I wish that I could have done more, but you all have brought me some peace.
Alouette,
Yes.
is there anything you wish to say to your mother?
Just tell her I love her and I'm sorry, but I'm not here. I wish I could have done more.
None of this is your fault.
I know. I'm just sad to leave her. But I can tell now I'm starting to fade. I think it's time for me to go.
It was lovely to meet you.
And you as well.
As she fades, I kind of reach out for Lucinda and Amma and pull them in around me and Ify. So the four of us are kind of like in a huddle.
Mm-hmm. And Alouette slowly fades away.
It's done.
She'll be at peace now.
The whole district will be at peace.
And is there anything that you all would like to do as we close out this session?
Ruby gets drunk.
Yep. Valid.
Honestly, yeah, once Amma has bandaged Rumi and bandaged herself, she'll join her.
Lucinda thinks it's dreadfully gauche to flaunt her wealth, but she thinks that this might be an exception. So everyone who wishes to partake partakes of the finest top shelf offerings.
Hey.
Ify has her first ever drink.
Ruby's like, Ify, have you ever had absinthe before?
No.
No, I haven't. What is it?
You've got to try it.
Everyone is staying at mine tonight. Nobody is heading home on their own after this.
Oh, no.
I love that so much.
So good.
And I think that with that, we will pull up and away. The four of you drinking absinthe at the bar. As Ray deals with the dead body. Invites in the OUP as they come in to deal with that mess. But you've had enough of a day. And so you all just have your nice quiet drink as everything else is chaotic around you. That doesn't matter. And that is where we will end this chapter. Not just the assignment, but the chapter. Thank you all so much for playing in this world with me. It has been so much fun. And thank you again to Free League for sponsoring Hoard of Tales Women in Gaming Month. Check out the VODs for literally everything, including the Vason game on Hoard of Tales Twitch channel. And soon, all of the games that were run for the event. There are also links to the sponsor in the chat and pinned information about the charity this month. I am Anya, and I have been your storyteller for this chapter of The Circle of Glass and Vapor. You can find me everywhere at Laleon Cosplay. I'm also a pro GM on Start Playing Games, and I'll be, I'm missing a word in my little script here. I'll be running my Serenity RPG game on Girls Run These Worlds starting on Wednesday, April 10th, so be sure to check that out. I'm very excited for that. So I'm just going to go in random order from what I'm seeing on the screen. So Sakaya, go first. Where can people find you? What are you doing next?
Hello everyone, I am Sakaya, and you can find me pretty much just on Discord and Blue Sky as Sakaya. I am part of the transmissions, and for about 2 months now I've been saying we are going to have a thing released. Well, it's out! It came out a few days ago. You can listen to the first episode of Black Teeth, which is a horror set in 1976 North Wales. Go and check that out. I'm also going to be doing something with Michelle a little bit later, but I'll let her mention that.
Well, hey, then Michelle, you go next. Go for it.
I have been Michelle Kelly. I am an actor, singer, voice actor, and an academic who can shoot a gun. You can find me on the socials at Michelle Acopter, and you can find me GMing for the first time on stream a very exciting multi-session game of Salvage Union with the lovely Sakaya. Coming up on the Girls Run These Worlds channel, so look out for that next month. I also play Blood in the Clock Tower with the RP Geeks, and I'm always popping up all over the place. Just follow me on the socials, you'll find out where I'm next. I also would love to take a moment to highlight an org that I am on the board of called Strut Safe. This was a fantasy story, but we all know that feeling unsafe when walking alone at night is a real issue that affects people of all genders, especially those who experience marginalization. And Strut Safe is a UK-wide non-judgmental phone line open from 7 p.m. till 3 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays and until 1 a.m. on Sunday. If you're alone, out and about, and you want someone to chat to who's reassuring, we are here for you. And if you have any issues or experiences that you need to speak to somebody who is more of an expert in, we will help you find the right service to assist you with any more serious issues. So we are Strut Safe, and you can find us on the socials and at strutsafe.org. We're here to try and help you stay safe from the desperate Harrys of the world.
Yeah, facts. Okay, thank you for that. And Ren, you're next.
Hi, I'm Ren. You can find me at Masquerade on TikTok and at Allegory of Death on Twitter. And doing some lovely stuff recently, and going to be doing more with Heart is a Dungeon, with Raw Storytime, and I'm also in the Black Teeth. Currently being released, as Sakaya mentioned. And yeah, I'll be popping up in more games later on in the year.
Yay! And last but not least, Astaroth.
Hello, I am Astaroth. You can find me on socials at disastarothvt. I'm a VTuber, writer, and cosplayer. Tomorrow I will be having my VTuber debut, where I will be showing off a live 2D model, which I'm very excited about because it's been like over a year in the making. But if you can't join tomorrow, you can find me on the Mystic News is D&D podcast, which is a podcast that I produce with a group of friends, as well as just general internet spaces. I don't touch grass enough.
That is a mood. Well, with that, that's everything from us. And so we're going to end everything there. Hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget, if you're in the EU, I think the UK, your clocks change on Sunday. Don't forget that.
Reminder.
You're welcome. I will be mid-flight over the ocean when that happens. Anyway, y'all have a good one, and thank you for watching this wonderful story that we got to play together. Have a good one, everyone. Bye.